Okay, miracle of miracles, I got my gasket set today. So I'm using a little bit of brake parts cleaner, and I'm using a dauber, and I'm getting it wet, and I'm kind of cleaning off the base like this. Then of course I'm going to clean this off. So let's clean that all off. Now I'm going to put some of this ultra copper on the opposite side of this opposite side. It's going to be the flat side. There's kind of a proud side, and then there's a flat side, and I'm putting the flat side towards the base, towards the crankcase. So I'm going to put some of this on there. Not enough where it's just going to ooze out all over, not a 1/4-inch bead, but just minimal. And I'm going to put that gasket on there. Okay, I've used this dauber to take and put a nice little pattern of the sealant on there. Now I can put the head on. Okay, you can tappy the wrist pin in, and then line it up on the bearing and kind of shove it that way just a little bit, and then you can tappy it all the way. But you want to do it with like the end of a screwdriver, nothing sharp and metallic. So I'm going to get that in there, and then the very final end, I'm going to be able to get a screwdriver in there and tick it in there very gently, and then be able to put my clip in. So once we get that in, we can set it down. You can put that little clip in with a pair of pliers, with a pair of needle nose. And well, these ain't very nice, but you want to put the top portion in first, and just have a very little bit of it hanging over, and then you can kind of work it right in, and you can use that little slot right there and not scratch the piston. Once you get it there, you can very carefully push it home with a little probe, very carefully. Now once you get that in there, the clip in there, you don't want it so the end is this way, so the opened end is this way. You want it so the opened end is this way or this way, because the piston's going up and down, and while it's going up and down, it can squeeze and it can shoot out. So if the opened end is down, or if the opened end is up, no inertia can squeeze it and pop it out. So you want it either up or down, and you can use a little pick to roll it around in there to find the right place. Put yourself a piece of paper towel in here, so when the thing goes flying out, it doesn't go down in your crankcase. You can use one of these to tighten your base bolts down. Here's the torque for the head and the base. If you don't have one of these, you can use one of these. It's a little advantage on it. It's important to get the right torque on them, because it's engineered to have that much on that bolt and that much on that head. Got one on. She moves nice, easy. And if you look, see the arrow at the top right there? The arrows, make sure all your arrows are pointing to the mag. If they're not pointing to the mag, don't take it apart and do it right. Make sure you take it apart and do it right. Don't start the engine. Okay, your pistons should be rolling up and down really nicely. There shouldn't be any binding. There shouldn't be any grinding noises or anything clicking, or it should be nice and smooth. If it's anything other than that, it's wrong. very important to have your arrows pointing towards the mag side. That's the pull start side. The PTO side is your clutch. Have all your arrows pointing that way. Heads next. I'm back. The legitimate job again got in the way and I had to leave for a good part of the afternoon, and now the cold fronts come in, and so our beautiful 60 degrees is dropped down to about 40. So, but not too bad on December 21st. 60 degrees. It's pretty good. Okay, what I did is I took these head gaskets and I took some of that ultra copper and I'm going around them like this. And then I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, put them on there, and I'm going to put my heads on 1, 2, 3, and put my head bolts on and torque them down. I've attached all my hoses. Each one of my hoses, I've cleaned out the inside of it, and I rubbed a little bit of ultra copper in it to act as a sealant of sorts and just help. This one, all these hoses, plus it helped them go on. Now, I'm going to park this in the corner overnight and let all that stuff set up before I put any water in it and run it. So it'll be tomorrow morning before I put anything else together on this. Mm-hmm. 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 Oh yeah, nice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Christmas cookies and brownies for the daughter and son-in-law. Got them out on the porch here finally, not to crowd the refrigerator. Finally turned cold. Not freezing yet, but 30s. Okay, on this historical 22nd day of December, that is, the tax bill had been passed finally. One hadn't been passed for years and years. They finally did. And on this day I'm going to put some antifreeze in this, and there's a bleeder screw right here. What you want to do is take that out, because that's the top of your system, and hold on to that. You want to make sure that antifreeze doesn't go down these 3 holes, because that would be bad. I'm using a paint funnel to kind of strain out the big chunks, because I caught it in some questionable bottles. So I'm going to pour that in there. If you pour it by the side, it doesn't go glug, glug, glug. Okay, you get the idea. And then when it comes out that hole, you're full. So there you go. And about the tax bill, it's only for the rich. Yeah, well, you know, I haven't got a job from a poor person lately, have you? There you go. Oh, look at all that goodness coming out of there that the funnel's catching. Oh, lovely, that's not going in there. Looks like I'm going to need a little more. Okay, I filled it where I could see it, and I let it set for a little bit. And if you have water coming out of the you did it wrong. It didn't drop down any, but that doesn't mean anything. Let's get things heated up and see what happens. Do you see what I'm saying? See that? That means you did it wrong. So let's take her back apart, drain it out and take her back apart. This is where you put water in it instead of antifreeze, because you know it's going to leak, and then it's going to be a gigantic mess. We're going to have to take that top piece off, and then we're also going to have to take off this deal too. See this around this also? I don't like that either. Magnets sure help. Aha. Okay, I cleaned all this stuff up with some brake clean, all the surfaces. Now I'm going to really put the beans to this with the sealant and to that. Remember when the Japanese put these bolts in, they put a little thread compound on the other side because the bolts go all the way through into this little water jacket down here, these little water jackets on the top of the cylinders. And if you don't seal them, water will come up from them. So I did seal them with a little bit of that Permatex, and I really put the beans to those gaskets and cleaned them off really well. Now I'm going to tighten that all up, and I'm going to wipe off the excess rather. If you shoot a little water on that silicone, a little warm water, I got just a bit of soap in there. I've moved my antifreeze out from underneath there. The whole thing is, the antifreeze will sit on there, and it'll sit on there, and it's kind of be greasy. You won't be able to see if it's leaking. You fill it back up. So I have a little warm water in a spray bottle. Now I got a air hose. Watch your ears. If I blow that all off and let that set for a little bit, it'll dry. Then I'll be able to see if it's leaking antifreeze again. Gonna have to let that set for a couple hours. Let that stuff skin up. Okay, I filled her up with antifreeze, and we don't have any leaks. No leaks around these. When you go to put your spark plugs on, the coil packs 1, 2, 3 are 1, 2, 3 on the cylinders. The pipes were a little bit different. You got to kind of fidget around with that. The first pipe that goes on, number 3, goes there. If they have this thing apart, this might help you. Number 2 goes here. Number 1 goes there. It was very difficult to get 3 back into place. If you put your gaskets on your little headers first, it makes a whole lot of difference. What was that? There's 3 springs on each. I had 2, and I had 3 springs left over, and I was like, where did these go? Okay, now I know. Filled it up with water, or rather antifreeze, so we should be good. I haven't seen any leaks. I put a squirt in each cylinder, so it should fire right up. Shouldn't be a problem. Okay, let's give it a shot. Up for off. No, up for on, yeah. Safety harness. We don't need no safety harness. This is very important if you don't know what this is. You attach this to you so when you do the big get off, your sled stops instead of ending up in the next county. I don't know if I'm going to choke it or not. I'm just going to give it a pull, see what happens. I traded the spring for one over there that stretched a little bit longer. It was kind of stretched out, so it's good now. It's not rattling around. Okay, I'll let it run for about 10 minutes. It's relatively warm, and got no leaks that I can see. Most of the smoke burned off. My fluid didn't go down, but time will tell on this one, so we'll see what happens. But she fires right up. So it's good. I like to see that. All right. I think what was going on before is I'd have to put a little fuel in one of these in order to get it firing, and the others had antifreeze in them, of course. It took a little time for it to get running before it would, the other two would come online, like 10 seconds or something, 5 seconds. That's what it was. It's leaking water inside, so hopefully I didn't hurt anything, and hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully I learned something. Oh, I reconnected my hanger also. It just screws up there. So aside from the some purple racing tape that we need to put there, I think it's pretty good. All right. And for our next thing, I don't know what we'll get into, but this was real and it was fun, but it wasn't real fun.